Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hariharaya Nama, Krishna Yadavaya Nama, Hari Gopal Govinda Ram, Sri Madhusudanam. Mugam Karodi Vachalam Pangum Langayate Girim Yat Kripatamaham Vande Sri Gurum Dinatarinam Paramananda Madhavam Sri Chaitanyam Ishwaram Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha गिरिवरदारी जय यशोधनन्दना जय व्रज जनरञ्जना जय यमुनतीरवनचारी जय कुञ्जविहारी जय यमुनतीरवनचारी जय कुञ्जविहारी जय राधा माधवा कुंज बिहारी जय राधा माधव राधे जय पंचतत्वा 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 जय पंचतत्वा जय नरसिंहदेव जय नरसिंहदेव नरसिंहदेव जय नरसिंहदेव नित्य गौर हरि बोल जय प्रभुपदा जय प्रभुपदा प्रभुपदा जय प्रभुपदा जय गुरुदेवा जय गुरुदेवा गुरुदेवा जय गुरुदेवा नित्य गौर हरि बोल हरि बोल हरि बोल नित्य गौर हरि बोल नित्य गौर हरि बोल हरि बोल हरि बोल नित्य गौर हरि बोल निताई गौर प्रेमानंदे हरि हरि बोल जय नरसिंहदेव भगवान की जय प्रहलाद महाराज की जय अनंत देव की जय निताई जगन्नाथ बलदेव सुभद्र महारानी सुदर्शन की जय श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय गुरु महाराज की जय okay so we're going to see some very important slokas in the end of the Isopanisad we are in where already we had two prayers. The last two prayers were for the audience of the Lord. Please show yourself in front of me, my Prabhu, removing your effulgence. So that was one. Another prayer again is to show the beautiful form of the Lord. So make yourself visible. That was one prayer. And then another was to show the form of the Lord. And we saw that how Brahman, Paramatma and Bhagavan features are there of the Lord, but they are all of the lower level of realizations, whereas the Bhagavan realization is the topmost realization. This is what we saw. Now, after requesting the Lord to show his darshan, now these last two prayers are about the death. So what does Vedas say about the death? We are seeing this Upanishad. The Upanishad is starting in the first verse about the supremacy of the Supreme Lord. And in the last verse, during the time of my death, kindly bestow your mercy upon me. So that is the prayer, the last two verses. Just a second. So, yeah, can somebody read this? 17th?
Devotees praise to the Lord that when leaving the temporary material body to develop spiritual body enter spiritual realm, by performing 9 crosses of devotional service, requesting the Lord to remember all sacrifices of denying the interest of the senses and engaging the senses in the service of the Lord during lifetime. Non devotee undergoes rebirth.
Okay. So this is the prayer one, and then the especially while leaving the body. Hmm? So now itself, now we are in good consciousness. At the time of death, maybe we'll have a clear consciousness, clear senses to pray to the Lord or not. We don't know. But right now is the right time to pray. So better to pray earlier and keep. That we don't know when the death will come. So like that, yeah, the last two verses is talking about. Okay, then read the 18th also.
Offering obeisances, falling on the ground at Lord's feet, devotee surrenders to the Lord and praying for his causeless mercy. The devotee can progress on the path of complete self realization. Devotee. Hearing and chanting the glories of the Lord, cleansed of all undesirable things, devotion becomes fixed upon the Lord passion, and ignorance completely vanish, acquires the Brahminical qualifications, fully enlightened, know the path of the Lord, know the way to attain him. As all doubts diminish, he becomes a pure devotee.
So even though the mantra directly doesn't specify that devotional service is the process, Prabhupada is very clearly explaining in the 17th verse, which we are going to see today, that there is a prayer. Of course, while leaving the temporary body, my dear Lord, please remember all the sacrifices which I have made. So the sacrifices which we have made means who am I and what are all the sacrifices which I made, and requesting the Lord to consider that and shower His mercy. So especially during the time of death. So during the time of death, for animals, there is no remembrance of what they did in their life. They just live and they just die. But as far as humans are concerned, the entire life will come in a flashback like a dream. Mhm. So whatever consciousness we were absorbed, what we did, everything will come as a flash of memory during the time of death. And that will be the result of the next birth. So we saw that the non-devotees certainly will undergo rebirth, but as far as devotee is concerned, he doesn't go. The sacrifice, the worship, so all this comprises of the 9 processes of devotional service. So that is the primary aspect of the activity which has to be performed by the spirit soul when within the body, so that while leaving the body, he has enough wealth, he has acquired enough to face the audience of the Lord and request for the mercy. Now, initially, what we are going to see in this verse is we will be seeing how the material body is getting manifest for us, how we are entangled within the material body. Okay, so before we start, I'm going to just ask a quick question. And what do you think? Okay, before we go here, what do you think about if I say that the material body has a form, but actually the spirit soul doesn't have a form? How many of you agree to this? One by one, you can say, for example, I see that the material body has a form and living or soul, okay, doesn't have a form. This is the question. So the answer can be either true or you'll be getting a poll now. Just answer this. Uh, save as meeting poll, save as. Okay, I saved one question. I don't know how it works. Launch. Are you getting it? Haribol?
Yes, Mataji, got
Okay,
Mataji.
answer. Okay. One person, another one or two? Yes. Okay. Three of them have said that true, and seven of you have said false. Material body has a form, and living entity or soul doesn't have a form. So three of you have said true, because this is the common thing which we always say, that the soul, when we see it like a light or something. But material body looks like dog, cat, some bird, animal, reptile, human. We have variety of shapes and sizes of forms. This is what we see. Okay, thank you very much for answering that question. Now let us go and see. Let us go and see what actually Mantra 17 Prabhupada is saying. Okay. This is very famous, like all of us think like that also. But here, what am I sharing? Are you able to see the verse?
Yes, Mataji.
Okay. So, Isopanisad Mantra 17. Whatever polling result you gave, you just keep it in your mind, whatever you have spoken. And now let us see in the purport what actually is the truth, whether it's true or false. Okay, Isopanisad Mantra 17, repeat. Jai Guru Maharaj. Vayur Anilam Amritam
Vayur Anilam
Amritam
Adetam Bashmantam Sariram
Atyendam
Bhashmantam
Shariram
Shariram
Om Krato Smarakrutam Smara
Om
Om Krato
Kritam
Smaratam
Smara
Smara
Krato Smarakratam Smara.
Krato Smara
Krato
Kritam Smara
Smaratam Smara.
Wonderful. You have already prayed to the Lord at the time of death. He should remember you and help you. Okay. Translation. Let this temporary body be burnt to ashes.
Let this temporary body be
body
burned
be
to
burnt
ashes,
to ashes. Temporary body
And
be
let the air of life be merged with the totality of air.
let the
and
air
let
of life
the
be
air of
merged with the
life be merged
totality of
with
the
the
air.
totality of air.
Now, O my Lord,
Now,
Now,
my
O my
Lord,
Lord,
O my Lord,
please remember all my sacrifices.
please
please
remember
remember
all
all
my
my sacrifices.
sacrifices.
And because you're the ultimate beneficiary,
And
And
because you are
because
the
You are
you
the
are
ultimate
the
ultimate
ultimate
beneficiary,
beneficiary.
beneficiary,
please remember all that I have done for you.
Please
please
remember
please
all
remember
that I
remember
all
have
that
done
I
all
have
that
for
done
you.
you
for
have
you.
done.
Start reading.
The temporary material body is certainly a foreign dress. The Bhagavad Gita 2.20 clearly says that after the destruction of the material body, the living entity is not annihilated, nor does he lose his identity. The identity of the living entity is never impersonal or formless. On the contrary, it is the material dress that is formless and that takes a shape according to the form of the indestructible soul. No living entity is originally formless, as is wrongly thought by those with a poor fund of knowledge. This mantra verifies the fact that the living entity exists after the annihilation of the material body.
Just a second, Trisha, you hold on. So the identity of the living entity is never impersonal or formless. On the contrary, it is a material dress that is formless, that takes the shape according to the form of impersonal, indestructible person. So this is very important for us to understand, but to speak with, we see so many forms. We see people, we see animals, birds, everything. And we think the material body is form. And here, Prabhupada specifically quotes, gives an analogy that the body is like a dress. For example, if you take a shirt, okay, actually the shirt is formless. If a person is just removing the shirt and putting it in the floor, it doesn't look like a man. It's just like a cloth. It's just lying down there. Huh? A cloth stitched in various shapes and sizes, but it's a when you drop the dress down, then it loses its form. Only when a man is wearing it, there is hand, there is collar, which shows the neck, and then there is a body. All these shapes come into picture only when a person is wearing it. And when the person is no more wearing it, it just drops down like that. Same way, so this example, Prabhupada gives this example of a dress many times. The subtle body and the gross body depends on the consciousness of the person, is reflected through the body. A person's consciousness is like a dog. For example, in this particular life, he was like a dog. He was just eating, roaming around, sleeping, and then he was just like lived like a dog only. In next life, he will get a dog body because his consciousness, his desire, and his consciousness is like that of a dog. So the form of the dog, the earth, water, fire, air, ether is the elements. They form into a body of a dog in the womb of a mother dog. Because this living entity wanted his life to be like that. He wanted his life to be like that, and he lived a certain life like that. And either through the cycle of evolution, he is coming into that species, or from human being is falling down into that species. Whatever be the reason, either from down he is coming up to the species, or from up he is falling into that species. In both cases, it is the consciousness of the living entity which determines one of the 84 lakh species of the bodies. And even within that 84 lakh species of the body, one may be blind, one may be wealthy, one may be poor, one may be deaf and dumb. So all this character is also based on the karma of the previous life of the living entity. So overall, the consciousness of the living entity is reflected in the shape and size of the body. It's very essential for us to know that the body by itself doesn't have a shape. The best example is given with a person who's dead. Okay. So, in the chat box, just type how many of you have seen a dead body. Some of either it may be your relative, it may be anybody in your family, or it can be your friends. Have you in close proximity? Have you the person who already lived? Now he's dead. Have you ever seen? Type yes. Ayan has seen, Preeti has seen, Sumedha has seen a dead body. Others have not seen. Jayalakshmi, Navneet has seen, Abhishek seen a dead body of a person whom already they know he was walking the previous day or a week back. They have seen him exist. Shrikant and Anushri, they have seen. So the simple simple thing to understand is when you went and saw the dead body, how the dead body was. Was it lying down or standing up? When they were alive, he was standing up, right? And you would have seen that it's simply lying down. It cannot stand up. Sometimes forcefully they put the dead body on a chair, they tie up the body, and they show as if he is sitting. But actually, he's not sitting. It's just falling down. It doesn't have they say the gravity and this and that, nothing works. They say that the law of gravity is acting. That is why you're able to stand erect. No. I'm standing erect because there is a living entity is there within the body. The minute the living entity leaves the body, like a shirt, a person is wearing a shirt. And when a man is opening that shirt up, then the shirt immediately loses its shape of a human being. It looked like a human being. The shirt looked like a human being. Insofar a man was wearing it. And the minute the man is removing the shirt, immediately the shirt loses its shape. Same way, the body also was looking in a particular shape. And as soon as the soul left, it just fell down, tabak, like that. A dead man just falls down without any capacity. And Immediately they burn or bury him within a day, maximum 24 hours. Before that, they will, why? Why can't they keep it? It's their relative, very affectionate relative. Oh, it is my brother, it is my father, it is my sister, it's my uncle, it's my grandfather. Why can't we just keep? We don't. Immediately, because the earth will join with the earth, the fire will join with the fire, and it will decay. The body will decay and it will start giving bad smell, and gradually it will all decay, and each of the elements wants to merge with other element. So when they are buried or burnt, then the elements easily get into the main universal element, and then the body is finished. Hmm? So the body took a shape of the living entity. The living entity's consciousness is reflected. If the living entity has an animal conscious, it will have an animal body, animal womb. If it is like that, so that is what we should understand. Actually, the body is formless only. But a living entity, every living entity is a form. Even when it is liberated, it has a form, spiritual form. And in material world, its consciousness is exhibited in the form of a body. So this is very important. No living entity is originally formless. It is wrongly thought. This is because in India, mostly they show in movies or anywhere, they see that the soul is simply going like a light. But you see, you in spiritual world, we have Gopas and Gopis and cows and Krishna and Radharani, Yashoda, Nanda. So many people, all of them are living entities, and its spirit soul manifested in a beautiful form. We all have a beautiful form, we never die. We never die, we eternally live. This is a wonderful concept which is given. Nowhere in any education, they give you so much confidence. If somebody comes and tells, excuse me, you will not die. You'll never die. You always live. What a good news. What an auspicious news. Who is that foolish person who will reject such education? The fool will reject Bhagavad Gita, the most foolish person, because Bhagavad Gita's first lesson is that the living entity is form, it has a form and it has an eternal form. How to regain that form is what we are trying to learn in Krishna consciousness. Okay, Disha, continue.
In the material world, material nature displays wonderful workmanship by creating varieties of bodies for the living beings according to their propensities for sense gratification. The living entity who wants to taste stool is given a material body that is quite suitable for eating stool, that of a hog. Similarly, one who wants to eat the flesh and blood of other animals may be given a tiger's body equipped with suitable teeth and claws. But the human being is not meant for eating flesh, nor does he have any desire to taste stool, even in the most aboriginal state. Human teeth are so made that they can chew and cut fruit and vegetables, although there are two canine teeth so that primitive humans can eat flesh if they so desire. But in any case, material bodies of all animals and men are foreign to the living entity. They change according to the living entity's desire for sense gratification. In the cycle of evolution, the living entity changes bodies one after another. Even the world was sorry, when the world was full of water, the living entity took an aquatic form. Then he passed to vegetable life, from vegetable life to worm life, from worm life to bird life, from bird life to animal life, and from animal life to human form. The highest developed form is this human form when it is possessed of a full sense of spiritual knowledge. The highest development of one's spiritual sense is described in this mantra. One should give up the material body, which will be burned to ashes, and allow the air of life to merge into the eternal reservoir of air. The living being's activities are performed within the body through the movements of different kinds of air, known in summary as pranavayu. The yogis generally study how to control the airs of the body. The soul is supposed to rise from one circle of air to another until it rises to the Brahmarandra, the highest circle. From that point, the perfect yogi can transfer himself to any planet he likes. The process is to give up one material body and then enter into another. But the highest perfection of such changes occurs only when the living entity is able to give up the material body altogether, as suggested in this mantra, and enter into the spiritual atmosphere where he can develop a completely different type of body, a spiritual body which never has to meet death or change. Here in the material world, material nature forces the living entity to change his body due to his different desires for sense gratification. These desires are represented in the various species of life, from germs to the most perfected material bodies, those of Brahma and the demigods. All of these living entities have bodies composed of matter in different shapes. The intelligent man sees oneness not in the variety of the bodies but in the spiritual identity. The spiritual spark, which is part and parcel of the Supreme Lord, is the same whether he is in the body of a hog or in the body of a demigod. The living entity takes on different bodies according to his pious and vicious activities. The human body is highly developed and has full consciousness. According to Bhagavad Gita 7.19, the most perfect man surrenders unto the Lord after many, many lifetimes of cultivating knowledge. The culture of knowledge the culture of knowledge reaches perfection only when the owner comes to the point of surrendering unto the Supreme Lord Vasudev. Otherwise, even after attaining knowledge of one's spiritual identity, if one does not come to the point of knowing that the living entities parts and are eternal parts and parcels of the whole and can never become the whole, one has to fall down again into the material atmosphere. Indeed, one must fall down even if he has become one with the Brahma Jyoti.
Okay.
As we have
Yeah, just hold on. So it's very self-explanatory how we are getting various forms. Even though we are living entities, we never die. But based on our desire, like Prabhupada is mentioning, based on our desire, if you want to eat stool, what we saw in one verse, the Supreme Lord is fulfilling everybody's desire in material world and spiritual world everywhere. And if somebody wants to eat flesh and blood, then he'll become a tiger's body. In this way, we get different, how the different bodies are manifested based on the desire of the living entity. So to start with an evolution, very clearly the step by step is mentioned. So first, the world will be full of water. Then there was aquatics. From aquatics, he came into vegetables. Then from vegetables to insects, and from worms and insects, and then to bird life, and bird to animal life, from animal to human form. So there is in Padma Purana the list of numbers of the species also is mentioned. And we just become part of one of the species. We take form, and at last from animal to human, from bird to animal, and insect to bird, and then from vegetable to insect, and then not in the same life but in different lifetimes. So the highest developed form is human form, hmm, and that is given with the different senses for cultivating spiritual knowledge, hmm, when it is possessed of full sense for spiritual knowledge. So that is described here. One should give up the material Lord. Anyway, it has to turn into ashes. So here some people, they yogis, what they do is they decide to go to their destination. I want to go to that planet, this planet. So what they can do is they do pranayama, and from that they gradually pranayama, pratyahara, dhara, niyama, like that. So pranayama is prana vayu is there. The vayu, the spirit soul is being pushed from the body using various chakras to the head, the center of the head. And from the center of the head, the backside, you can see the center of the head. There will be the hair is started growing from there. You can see the round, round, round like that. And from that place, that's called Kabala Moksha. What they do is they push the spirit soul outside the body to that destination where they really want to go. But already Prabhupada has mentioned that the entire material world is like a dark dungeon. And what is the and sunlight is like a lamp. And if sun is switch off the sun, then it's only darkness. Then we have moon, which is like a night lamp, very little night lamp. But in Amavasya, that is also not there. So whatever you see on Amavasya day, that is the original state of the material world. So what is the use of running from one corner of the dark dungeon to another corner of the dark dungeon? Get out of this into the material world and get out and get into the spiritual world. So that is the aim. But this yogis, what they do, they use this prana vayu. And then what they do, they push prana vayu, apana vayu, samana vayu, udana vayu. Like that, there are 9 vayus in the body. And the prana vayu is a vayu in which the spirit soul is floating. So that is that using that they just push it out to their own destination where they want to go. But anyway, they leave this body and they in another place also they have to enter into another material body which is again destructible only. So they are not actually getting their permanent spiritual body, which is the body of the soul. The soul itself is a personality. So once we attain that, then it's not perfection. So the yogis, they don't attain perfection at all. They go from one body to another body. What is the use of going from one dark corner of a dark room to another dark corner? So this material world is like that. So we have to get the spiritual body. We have to enter into the spiritual atmosphere where we can develop a completely different type body, a spiritual body which never has to meet death or change. No birth, no old age, no disease, no death. So here in the material world, the material forces, nature forces the living entity to change his body due to his different desires for sense gratification. So this sense gratification, what as a dog we have enjoyed, as a cat we have enjoyed. Some people want to eat meat, then as tiger we have enjoyed. Some people want to eat only vegetarian and fruits and live in the forest. We have enjoyed as a monkey. What in all various shapes and sizes we have gone and we have enjoyed. So, and the intelligent man will see oneness not in the variety of the bodies. Oh, we are all Indians, we are all Pakistanis, we are all, oh, we are humans, we have to support the humans, the animals can be killed. Not like that. Don't identifying oneself with the body, then you will have a groupism. But an intelligent man sees oneness not in the variety of the body, but in the spiritual identity. We are all spirit soul, we are part and parcel of the Lord. Rest, whatever is there, is all Jada Prakriti, which is external energy of the Lord. The whole world is the external energy of the Lord. And whatever moving things and others which you see are living entities, which are marginal energy of the Lord. So he sees that the spirit soul is the part and parcel of the Lord. Whether the part and parcel may be in the body of a hog or in the body of a demigod, it is just locked within that particular body. This is how he sees. You see that very nice. Pandita Samadarshina. You see that if you are a Pandita, we understand that Samadarshina. Okay, the spirit soul got locked up in the tree body, the spirit soul got locked up in a dog's body. Now the spirit soul is locked up in a human body. In this way, we just see that the spirit soul is the servant of Krishna and part and parcel, got conditioned within this body. So that is what is an intelligent person will see that spiritual spark, which is part of the Supreme Personality Godhead. Especially human body is highly developed. So this lifetime is for after the even a person who has learned and learned and learned and learned all the scriptures, he may even know that I am not the body and spirit soul, but he has not attained perfection unless he understands Supreme Lord. Vasudeva Bahunam Janmanamante Jnanavan Tan Prabatyate Vasudeva Sarvamiti Samahatma Sudurlabha. Very, very rare to see that Mahatma who understands after many years of cultivation of knowledge, he understands Vasudeva Sarvamiti. Oh, Bhagavan Vasudeva is everything. Okay, he is the one who's great. This understanding comes after many, many, many lifetimes. So, that unless if somebody may even come to understand, okay, I'm not the body, I'm spirit soul, but that is an imperfect understanding. So, what one has to know? Even otherwise, even after attaining knowledge of one's spiritual identity, if one does not come to the point of knowing that the living entity are part and parcel of the whole, he can never become. So, if you want to go to spiritual world, you want to attain perfection, sometimes say, Mataji, what? Everybody has taught us that we are not the body, we are spirit soul. Why are you forcing that? Don't tell like that. It is incomplete. Hmm? Tell that I am servant of Krishna, I am part and parcel of Krishna. Add that statement also. Otherwise, it's so naked to say that I am not, I am the soul, I am soul, I am soul. What is the soul? What is the component of the soul? What is the duty of a soul? What will the soul do? Soul is more active than the jada. The jada seems active only because the soul is there. Then think what is the capacity of the soul to be active. But simply by saying, I'm not the body, I'm spirit. Who are you? I am soul. And then what? I am Jiva. I am part and parcel of Krishna. I am servant of Krishna. So here, unless you connect anything with Krishna, then other things are Maya. That's what. Otherwise, even after attaining the knowledge, so sometimes the jnani, he will understand, okay, I'm not this body, I'm the spirit soul. But that is a useless thing. Okay, so what? You're a soul, then so what? What will you do with the I am soul, I am soul? What will you do? Oh, I won't do anything, I'll just keep quiet. I won't involve in material activities. That is what they come at the end. Okay, I don't know what a soul will do, so I'll keep quiet and do nothing. So otherwise, even after attaining knowledge of one's spiritual identity, if one does not come to the point of knowing that the living entities are eternal part and parcel of the whole and can never become, and we can never become the whole, we cannot merge with the whole. If unless you come to understand that Supreme Personality of Godhead, one has to fall down again into the material atmosphere. So surely the one who self-realized, that's why whenever somebody talks about self-realization, any of you in your exercise, then I say that God realization, the self-realization is part of God realization. So Akila, separately, if you try for a self-realization, one has to fall down again into the material. But if the self-realization is accompanied mainly with God realization, then you will never fall again. You may come to the material world by your own will for preaching, like acharyas are coming. You can come to the material world in order to participate with the pastime of the Supreme Lord, and when he comes as avatar, that is by your own will you are coming, not by jabardast, not by force. You are given a material body and be born. So descending from spiritual world is different. Like Hanuman, he descended, Garuda, he descended from spiritual world in order to assist the Supreme Lord, in order to participate in the pastimes. That is totally different from just realizing, okay, I am not the body, I am spirit soul. That's self-realization. And go back to Brahma Jyoti and then again fall down. People in Brahma Jyoti will certainly fall down because there is no aspect of devotional service there. So devotional service is the primary aspect. And if somebody is missing the devotional service, they cannot enter into any of the planets, spiritual planet. They have to hang around outside in the Jyoti. The outside of the material spiritual world is everything Brahma Jyoti only. So they have to hang around outside the gate of the spiritual world. And they will feel uneasy and they'll again fall down into the material world. Material world, they are ready, waiting, the door is open and they are ready to fall down there. So it's very important to know that the self-realization includes God realization. A self-realization without God realization is incomplete. So there is no possibility to reach the spiritual world. So this is very important. Yeah. Go ahead. Who wants to read? Disha, you want to continue?
Yes. Or somebody else also can.
Yeah. Anyone else wants to read?
As we have learned from previous mantras, the Brahma Jyoti emanating from the transcendental body of the Lord is full of spiritual sparks that are individual entities with the full sense of existence. Sometimes these living entities want to enjoy their senses, and therefore they are placed in the material world to become false lords under the dictation of the senses. The desire for lordship is the material disease of the living being, for under the spell of sense enjoyment, he transmigrates through the various bodies manifested in the material world. Becoming one with the Brahma Jyoti does not represent mature knowledge. Only by surrendering unto the Lord completely and developing one's sense of spiritual service does one reach the highest perfectional stage. In this mantra, the living entity prays to enter the spiritual kingdom of God after relinquishing his material body and material air. The devotee prays to the Lord to remember his activities and the sacrifices he has performed before his material body is turned into ashes. He makes this prayer at the time of death with full consciousness of his past deeds and of the ultimate goal. One who is completely under the rule of material nature remembers the heinous activities he performed during the existence of his material body, and consequently he gets another material body after death. The Bhagavad Gita 8.6 confirms this truth. Yam yam vapi smaran bhavam tvajati ante kalevaram tam tam evaiti konteya sada tad bhava bhavita. Whatever state of being one remembers when he quits his body, O son of Kunti, that state he will attain without fail. Thus, the mind carries the living entity's propensities into the next life. Unlike the simple animals who have no developed mind, the dying being can remember the activities of his life like dreams at night. Therefore, his mind remains surcharged with material desires, and consequently, he cannot enter into the spiritual kingdom with a spiritual body. The devotees, however, develop a sense of love for Godhead by practicing devotional service to the Lord. Even if at the time of death a devotee does not remember his service to the Lord does not forget him. This prayer is given to remind the Lord of the devotee's sacrifices. But even if there is no such reminder, the Lord does not forget the service rendered by his pure devotee. The Lord clearly,
Okay. Yeah, read it one more time.
the Lord clearly describes his intimate relationship with his devotees in the Bhagavad Gita 9.30 to 34. Even if one commits the most abominable action, if he is engaged in devotional service, he is to be considered saintly because he is properly situated in his determination. He quickly becomes righteous and attains lasting peace. O son of Kunti, declare it boldly that my devotee never perishes. O son of Pritha, those who take shelter in me, though they be of lower birth, women, Vaishyas, merchants, as well as Shudras, workers, can attain the supreme destination. How much more this is of the righteous Brahmanas, the devotees and the saintly kings. Therefore, having come to this temporary, miserable world, engage in loving service unto me. Engage your mind always in thinking of me. Become my devotee, offer obeisances to me and worship me. Being completely absorbed in me, surely you will come to me.
So, here, where from the living entity comes, we are part and parcel of Krishna. So, the impersonal Brahma Jyoti, which is coming out, it's also like undeveloped state of the Supreme Lord's part and parcel only. So, we are actually emanating from there. But actually injected by Mahavishnu. Mahavishnu is the one who is putting us inside this material world. The complete process is explained in Srimad Bhagavatam. Hmm? Uh, Brahmajyoti emanating from the transcendental body of the Lord is full of spiritual sparks that are individual living entities with full sense of existence. So sometimes these living entities wants to enjoy their senses, and therefore they are placed in the material world to become false lords under the dictation of the senses. So the senses will dictate, I want this, I want to enjoy that, I want to enjoy that. And in this way, they are placed in the material world. Only very, very little quantity of the living entities. But majority of them are involved in the service of the Supreme Lord in the spiritual world. So, what is the problem? What is our problem here in the material world? It's a disease. We have a disease. The spirit soul has got into a disease. What is that? The desire for lordship. I want to be the Lord. The desire to lord it over. That is the material disease which we have got of the living being. For under the spell of sense enjoyment, he transmigrates. So I want to enjoy my senses. I want to be the Lord. Only because of that, he is again and again getting into various species of life. So again, going back and joining the Brahma Jyoti, that is not maturity. But only by surrendering to the Lord and by developing the spiritual senses, the service. So we have to develop our spiritual senses. One reach to the highest perfectional stage. So this is the completion of the spirit soul. The purpose of the spirit soul is to serve the Supreme Lord. And when he does that, the completeness happens. So here the living entity is praying to the Lord that to enter into the spiritual kingdom of God. So everybody is telling, I want to go back to Godhead, or they say that I want to go to Goloka. When? So there is a prayer here saying that relinquishing my material body and material air, the devotee prays to the Lord to remember his activities. Actually, Krishna need not be reminded, but he will, Krishna automatically remembers, but it's just part of the prayer. So he makes this prayer at the time of death with full consciousness, his past deeds, and the ultimate goal. The ultimate goal is to go back to Krishna and serve him permanently. That is the ultimate destination. Not like a yogi, which again goes back into another body in the material world, Siddha Loka, Charana Loka, so many lokas, Swarga Loka, people who do karmic activities, Punya karmas, to go back into the Deva Loka. I will live as a heaven in the like a heavenly planetary system. But everywhere there is birth, death, old age, disease, and troubles, so many difficulties come upon. So this whatever you remember at the time of your death, what you remember at the time of death is nothing but the one who completely under the rule of material nature remembers the heinous activities he performed during the existence of material body. And consequently, he gets another material body after the time of death. So yam yam vapi smaran bhavam means whatever remembrance you have at the time of death, kalevara means death. During a time of death, whatever remembrance you have, that only you will get sadastat bhava bhavita, that bhava, that life you will get again. So now the animals know when they die. This is the translation of the verse. But unless the animals know, they just die just like that. But as far as the human, but death, what will happen during the time of our death? The dying human being can remember the activities of his life like a dream at night. Therefore, his mind remains discharged with the material disease. Consequently, he can enter into the spiritual kingdom with the spiritual body. A devotee who is fully absorbed in the Krishna's service, whatever he did in the complete lifetime will come as a flash of memory. It's like a rewinding, a flashback will come at the time of death. But for a materially sense enjoyable person, he lived a useless life of sense enjoyment, and all those heinous activity which he has performed, especially the bad activities, all those things will come as a flash. So, as far as devotee is concerned, he is developing a sense of love for God by practicing devotional service to the Lord. So, even if at the time of death the devotee does not remember his service, in case if the devotee is not able to remember the service of the Lord does not forget him. Very, very important. Why do I practice Krishna consciousness? Will I go to Goloka? I am practicing, I'm putting so much efforts. Don't worry at all. Even if you forget, Krishna will not forget. So this prayer is given to remind the Lord of the devotee sacrifice. But even if there is no such a reminder, Lord does not forget the service rendered by a pure devotee. So about others, Lord forgets. Why? Because their entire life is Krishna unconscious. So when they never think about Krishna, their only aim is to satisfy the sense in various shapes and sizes and life, everything, and then die. This is the only aim. Then Krishna is totally missing. Why should he remember at all? What is there to remember? They will get another destination to again enjoy their senses, again enjoy their senses, again enjoy their senses. But as far as a devotee is concerned, because he is thinking of Krishna, Krishna is thinking of him. Very, very simple. The affection is mutual. Affection is not one-sided. Why should Krishna give you one-sided love? But he is giving you so much affection. That is why he has created this material world. He has created so many sense gratificatory objects. Sometimes devotees ask, even non-devotees, they are enjoying so much, they are getting so much food and all. How it is that without offering to Krishna, they are eating, or they are eating meat, still they live long duration. Why Krishna is not taking? Because Krishna is allowing them to be without remembering him. They are allowing, and again they get into dog, cat, various types of bodies based on their propensity of sense gratification. So, the Krishna is describing his intimate relationship with his devotee. That is in Bhagavad Gita. We will see Bhagavad Gita. Gradually, he enters into tell, even if a person commits the most abominable action, whatever in the public, whatever in the world, people say that he is doing bad activity. But if he's a devotee, then Krishna doesn't care. So today in Guru Maharaj class also it came like there is two siddhas, sadhana siddha and kripa siddha. By sadhana, one is progressing by practicing, following very nicely. But a kripa siddha, simply getting the mercy of Guru and Krishna, very quickly attains bhava and prema and high level of devotional service. So sometimes the sadhana siddhas may become envious and claim that, oh, this is cheating, this is a shortcut. Why they are directly getting all that bhava and prema and all that? They are very affectionate and all. We are coming in the line, no, we are coming following all the rules and regulations. So a person who is following or developing affection for Krishna and or the spiritual master, pure devotee, his progress is very swift, very fast, because the kripa, the mercy. So even that is explained. Three types of transferring mercy is there. That is Bhaktivinoda Thakur is describing in Guru Maharaj class today. If possible, kindly hear it. It's a very, very important class. Today and yesterday was very nice. And today it was explained about Krishna's mercy, how it is coming. By speaking, the spiritual master speaks or Krishna speaks by speaking, like Bhagavad Gita. And the second, by seeing the deity. We are going and standing in front. Sometimes Guru Maharaj used to write, today I showed myself in front of deity, like that. We go to take darshan. What do we see? We see, okay, some statues standing. We are not able to see, okay, the deities are talking with each other, or we are not able to see. So what is the meaning of darshan? Like you're going and standing there, but Supreme Lord is fully conscious of all living entity. He is actually seeing you. So you have to go and show yourself in front of the deities, so that the deities can see you. Okay, present, sir, Ajar, I have come here, like this. So the Supreme Lord sees you. So by seeing Krishna Shvaba's mercy. And the third is Hridaya, by heart, heartfully blessing. That is by blessing. So one is by speaking, another is seeing, another by blessing. So Guru Maharaj, if you go to Guru Maharaj class, you will have all the three. It is so beautiful. He gives class by speaking, and we are all hearing. So that is one thing. Second, he is seeing all of us, and we are also seeing him. Second, and the third is he is every single day blessing the devotees. Krishna Mati Rastu. Like this, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, this is the proper way of blessing. It is in Chaitanya Charitamrita, Chaitanya Bhagavat, many places this is mentioned. How a devotee should bless, a spiritual master should bless. Krishna Mati Rastu. This is the word. This is used by Lord Chaitanya also. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu also blesses like this. So he is advising us, the Guru Maharaj blesses in that way. So we get, so a person who is attached to such a pure devotee who is involved completely in distributing the real love of Godhead is very rare to find. And we get, and today Bhaktivinoda Thakur explaining exactly what is very shocking. Very nice class. So even if a person, and in that it is mentioned, a person who follows a practical sadhana very perfectly, but another person may not follow, but just by the mercy of Guru and Krishna, he may quickly get bhava and prema and reach the topmost level of prema bhakti. And that is possible. And so the other person who's coming in the staircase, you should not either envy or ask, oh, how it is a shortcut. It is not a shortcut because Krishna is fully independent. He has every right to award himself or not. Attaining Krishna is not by, okay, you have to come in line and you will attain Krishna. Krishna has to give himself to you. Yesterday we saw Krishna has to favor the person. Unless Krishna favors himself, Krishna should make himself available. For example, you close your eyes. And I'm giving you a small exercise before we close down to prove this fact. Okay, the small exercise, we'll come back and continue this tomorrow. The small exercise for all of you right now is, all of you just close your eyes and remember Krishna's form. It may be your temple deity or it may be one of your favorite deity. Just remember a particular form of the Supreme Lord. and chant Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Okay. So thank you very much. So were you able to see? Raise your hand, or in the chat you type yes and type the name of the deity or whichever form, whatever form you saw in your thought. Just 1 or 2 seconds we saw, right? I typed Radha Madhav Preeti Priyanka, yes. I saw Jagannath and also Sadanandini. No, that is yes. Which deity? Good. Ayan Mandal, yes. Sumedha, yes. 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 Giridhari, yes. Radha Madhav. So, this deity you are able to remember only because the deity desired to appear in your mind. Without the will of the Supreme Lord is a supreme person. He won't come just like that. Unless he gives himself to you, you cannot see him in your mind. It is by his free will he appears in your mind. And the acharyas are sitting in the altar, they are praying that please shower your mercy on these conditioned souls. And due to Guru and Krishna's mercy, both mercy, the Guru Parampara which is there, and Krishna, they will, okay, let me appear. Otherwise, if a non-devotee, if I'm suddenly asking a non-devotee, close your eyes and remember Krishna, he won't be able to remember. Very, very rare, he may remember some painting or something. That some people can, some people cannot. Well, I'm trying, but it's not coming. Maybe whom I remember, I don't know. Give me some time. Like that, they will say. So, in this way, quickly you can remember, within no time you're able to remember. This is because of the Guru and Krishna's mercy. Because Supreme Lord, he has his own free will to appear or not to appear in your mind. Krishna chooses. If we don't have mercy of Krishna, how much ever you try to remember, you cannot remember. So even at the time of death, sometimes a devotee may not be able to remember, but Lord will come and remind him. That is the commitment which is given here. And that is the mercy of Acharya Parampara on us. So, okay. So we'll just complete here. So one can be very, very fallen person. Abhi, Duracharo, Abhi say to Duracharo. So if they are Ananya Bhakta, but they are either born in a low family, or if they are naturally committing abominable action, but still if they have performed devotional service, they should be considered saintly. Because they are situated in the dissemination of original dharma. A person who is Krishna conscious is right, that's all. A person who is not Krishna conscious is wrong, that's all. Finished, full stop. No more, but he is very good man, he will to the hospital, he is very good man, he is helping others, whatever it is. If there is no God, he is not a saintly person. But if there is God, he is a saintly person. That's all, simple. So, then he quickly becomes righteous. He will become righteous very quickly. And he will never perish. So he can be from any birth, he can do any activity, but he is a devotee. So of course, when he becomes a devotee, the acharyas say no meat eating, no gambling, no illicit sex, no intoxication. They give simple 4 regulative principles. In the world, there are so many rules and regulations may be there. But that we don't care. Following 4 regulative principles, chanting Hare Krishna, acharyas have given, and we are following it. Then the person in the worldly sense, whatever people may comment about him, that doesn't matter. But he is accepted by Krishna. That's all, finished. All other rules, regulations are secondary. They are not part of the program. Part of the program is given by acharyas. So, therefore, having come to this temporary miserable world, engaging in loving service unto me, engage your mind always thinking of me, become my devotee. Offer your obeisances unto me and worship me. Manmana bhava madbhatto madhyajimam namaskuru me vaishyati satyante. You will come to me. Surely you will come to me. So there is a guarantee Krishna is giving to me. You just need to do certain activities. So what you need to do? You have come to the miserable material world. Now there is an exercise for you today night. Any photo of Krishna in front of you. You take and keep, or in your mobile you take and keep, and when the session finishes, you need to do certain activities. So think, already we engaged our mind in thinking of Krishna. Then we are becoming devotee by chanting one time Hare Krishna Mahamantra. At least we did, and of course every day we are all chanting. We need to offer obeisances unto him. So tonight we'll offer obeisances unto the Supreme Lord, and thus we declare ourselves to be devotee of Krishna. Krishna, my dear Krishna, I am your devotee. So sometimes when we ask somebody, are you a devotee? They say, I am trying. No. Sometimes some people, out of humility, duplicate humility. You're chanting Hare Krishna 16 rounds and you say, no, Prabhu, I am not a devotee. This is false. You want to pose yourself as a humble person. This is a cheating. Just say, yes, I am a devotee, but I may not be a pure devotee, but I am trying to be a devotee. My attitude is towards trying to become a devotee. I am in the path of progress. So we have to accept. So one time in an exercise, I asked, okay, are you devotees? So one person said, no. Then I said, are you not devotee? Then he said, no. Then where are you hanging around? In Brahma Jyoti, huh? You're neither a devotee nor a devotee. What are you then? So this is a confusion. So simply, if you're chanting Hare Krishna, you're a devotee, but it may not be a pure devotee, but you're in the path of devotional service. So you see, I'm trying to become a devotee, or I'm trying to progress, I'm trying to become a pure devotee, but I practice practices of devotional service. I do. So this offering obeisances and remembering Krishna, chanting Hare Krishna, offering obeisances and worshipping Krishna, we engage in those activities. So in that way, surely we will go to Krishna. Krishna will show that, yes, you did that day of you offered obeisances unto me. And during our time of death, whenever it is happening, Krishna is going to remember that, and he is going to remind us that. He will come and remind us that, because we have to remember it in our flashback. Then only we'll get the next body related to this remembrances. Okay, so we have more to see, because a little serious topic about what to do during the time of death, what will happen at the time of death. We have little more to see, and tomorrow we can connect back. Okay, Hare Krishna, thank you very much. Any questions or comments, kindly put it in the group or private message to me. I'll voice message back, and if the answer and question are relevant to the group discussion, certainly I'll post it in the group. Or if you want to ask it in the group, more than good. Leave all your ego and put it in the group. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna. Let us wind up here. Vancha kalpatarubhyascha kripasindubhyeva patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo. Jai Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Guru Maharaj ki jai. Nitai Gaura Premanande.
Hare Krishna.
Okay, kindly post the questions here.